Before we get started, I've created a 7-day fast track to podcasting. If you have always wanted to have a podcast, you need it for your business, you don't know how, here is a great chance for you to be up and running within 7 days. Go to my webpage, www.coachlori.com, for more information, and we'll see you there.
How many people in the world, well, there's only one person can say that they did the, look on YouTube for Coldplay.
Okay.
Closing ceremony, Coldplay, and my song was God Put a Smile on My Face. Imagine that. So that was my song, and that still sends shivers through me. That when I hear it, I'm there again, and I'm clutching the trapeze, and I'm all dressed, and yeah. But look, and you'll see this one-legged, long blonde hair then flying through the sky. Yeah, crazy. My mother was in the audience. She nearly had a coronary because I wasn't allowed to tell them what I was doing. You see. Because I'm just your average Joe, just using a walking stick. I'm just the average age. I'm just average. And I could give that to other people. That was my ping. That was my light bulb. That was my why. And I realised what I'm here for.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Lori.
Lyndsay Mitcheson is what you do is called Neo Walk. It's so good to have you here, Lyndsay.
Thank you for having me. It's really lovely to be here.
So tell us all about it.
I started my passion for walking sticks because I needed one, because I became an amputee in 2010. So I became a very active amputee, and I was walking around with a prosthetic leg, and I was only 43. It was great. Yeah, that's when I needed a walking stick. So, and I couldn't find anything that really I liked or that said a bit about me. And so I thought, to hell with it, I'll make my own. That's how I got into walking sticks. That's what I do now. We have an e-commerce website. We don't have any shops. We don't have any outlets. We just purely sell from our website. And we, 30 countries, I think, at the last count. We're a global company now, and it's grown over the last 5 years, 6 years. But yeah, I love it. It's a privilege to do what we do, and it is my passion. It's my mission. We're trying to destigmatize walking sticks because a lot of people feel shame around using walking sticks. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to empower people to say, actually, look at me, not hide it away. Actually, I love this. I'm proud of this. This says who I am. Look at this. And that's what we want people to do.
I have a friend who needs a walking stick, and she has said that. She has said, I don't want to be the person with a walking stick.
Yeah.
And so when you said you couldn't find one that fit you, tell me more about what that means.
Yeah, because a lot of walking sticks have flowers on. A lot of walking sticks are wooden, they're metal, they're just plain. And you know what they also do? And you won't know this unless you've used one. When you walk along, they go click, 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 click like this. So people can hear you coming from 100 yards. So I was never able to sneak up on my children because they could hear click, 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 click. She's coming. And of course with ours, because it's one continuous piece of acrylic, and acrylic's a beautiful material to work with, very tactile, it warms up when you hold it in your hand. It's a really lovely material. So because it's all one piece, you don't get the click, 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 click. I love that about them. But I just couldn't find one that was colourful. I couldn't find one that said, this person's still quite young and cares what they look like before they leave the house. You know, it's that kind of it. Could it match an outfit I was wearing? You saw me in these earlier. I collect glasses as well. Does it match that kind of outgoing personality? And I couldn't find anything. There was nothing. That was how I came. I suspect it's probably how your friend feels.
Did you find you created them? You just
Yeah.
invented them?
Yeah, made one. I made one in my kitchen oven. I bought the acrylic rods. I researched that on the internet, but because what I wanted was an invisible walking stick. So I wanted an invisible, because I was going through a period of time where I wanted to be invisible because I'd gone through so much body image change. I couldn't accept, I was a completely different person to what I had been. And I just wanted to disappear. So I wanted an invisible walking stick to start with. So I bought clear acrylic rods, put it in my oven, put the end in my oven. I molded the end around a wine bottle, and I made my walking stick. And people started noticing it and saying, "Whoa, I really like your walking stick." So I started making some coloured ones as well to see what it felt like. And the feeling was just wow. It was confidence. It was people looking at my walking stick instead of saying, "What's wrong with you? What happened to you?" Because people feel that right to ask you, "What happened? What's up with you? What's wrong with you?" And it's a real traumatic period of time that you're not going to share with a stranger. It shifted the focus from my disability to my walking stick. It was priceless. And that's when I thought, do you know what? I could give that to other people as well, because I'm just your average Joe, just using a walking stick. I'm just the average age. I'm just average. And I could give that to other people. That was my ping. That was my light bulb. That was my why. And I realized what I'm here for. And that's what I've done for 13 years now. Yeah,
I
I love
love
it.
how you compared it to the glasses, because this was kind of a new concept. People that wear glasses just to wear them, that they don't need them. When you put those big frame glasses on, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the same thing. People will use them for a hiking and that, but if they have to use them to get around, that it would be, I love that idea of, like, oh, I love your glasses versus, oh, you can't see.
Exactly. It's a disability, having poor vision or less vision than you used to. It's still a disability that you've acquired, but people don't look at glasses as being a mobility aid or a medical aid, but they are technically. But yeah, someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, I like your glasses." They're not going to say, "Oh God, you're as blind as a bat, aren't you?"
And
Then
they're not going to ask you if you really need them.
yeah,
They're glasses. They're not going
yeah.
to say, oh, wait, are those just glass?
Yeah, it's self-explanatory, isn't it? And then, of course, that's a similar thing to what we've found with the cosplay community. They want to use our walking sticks as accessories. So we make lots of sticks for cosplay dresses, and we also make for goth people. We make some oh my word, I could blow your mind with some of the ones we've made for goth people. Yeah, and we're actually going to a goth weekend in Whitby. I don't know whether you know the UK, but it's supposed to be where Dracula came from. That's its claim to fame. So we're going to an event there in April, which is just a goth weekend, and it will just be full of thousands of people. And I'm imagining that a lot of them will look at what we've got and say, yeah, that's really good for dressing up. And, we embrace both. It's whatever you want to do with it. It's whatever it says about you. That's what we want you to express yourself with it.
I love that, because so often when we have something happen in our life, for me, it was being a single mom, is we lose choices. We no longer have a choice about a lot of things. It's like you brought back choice. You brought back individualism.
Yeah. When you talk about choice, the immediate thing that jumps to my mind, because I chose to have my leg amputated. I suffered a catastrophic MRSA infection in 2007 during surgery. I caught it during surgery. I lived with my leg. They saved my leg, and I lived with it for 3 years, but I couldn't bend it. I could barely walk on it. It was really painful, and it limited me so much. So I had an elective amputations. That was my choice. So I took a situation that had happened to me, and I made it into something that I took back control of. And I took back the control, had my leg amputated, never looked back one day. And yeah, just started living a completely new life where I had choices again and I had possibilities again. And it just transformed my life.
And now you're giving so many people the choice.
Yeah.
Do you get, like, on your website, or do you get people responding? Like, what kind of comments are you getting from people once they get their amazing stick?
I've a beautiful team of people. There's 10 of us now, and we're all big softies, and we're all very invested in what our walking sticks do. We know that each box that we send out, we know we're possibly changing a life every time it goes out. Some of the emails we get just reduce you to tears, because people will say they haven't left the house for 3 years because they've been so ashamed. And having a walking stick, one of ours, they went out and people spoke to me. It's that jaw-dropping, people actually spoke to me and acknowledged that I exist, instead of just turning a blind eye and just looking pitiful. People look at you with pity. We've emails that you would cry, Laurie.
That's so beautiful. I did an interview with a lady who works with people with disabilities. She doesn't have a disability, but what brought her to the work was she had lost a child with a disability when the child was very young. She'd been built this organization while she went on a vacation and was attacked by dogs and ended up in a wheelchair. And she said, I have worked with these people for over 20 years. And she said, I never realized how invisible you are when you have a disability. People don't look at you. They wouldn't talk to her. Suddenly, she'd been walking around this resort, meeting new people, and suddenly nobody even looked at her.
Yeah, it happens. When I go out, it doesn't always happen now. It still does. When I go out with either my son or my sister, a cashier will look straight over my head and say, does she know her PIN number for her card? Can she get out of her chair to transfer into a theatre seat? It's like, well, ask me. I'm here. I'm a very capable person. But people just either don't know how to address somebody, or they're scared to, or they've had a bad experience. Because what I will say, some disabled people, just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't make you a nice person. It really doesn't. And there are absolute idiots out there. If somebody comes up to me, if I'm in the car park, if I've been shopping, do you need help with your bags? And if I do on that day, I will say, yes, please, thank you. Or I will just say, no, not today, but thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. Other people, I'm sure, have been verbally attacked because they're putting down the poor person in the wheelchair. I don't really agree with that. Some of that can come from bad experience as well, so it's not something I can comment on, but I've only ever had people want to be helpful to me. And I think if people are scared to, that's a real shame. That's a real shame for society. People hold doors open for you, don't they? You go somewhere. It's not being pitiful to me if they hold a door open for me. They're just holding a door open for a lady. It all depends how you look at it, but it can be a complicated place for people to navigate. And I think a lot of it comes down to educating the younger generations, exposing younger generations to people in wheelchairs, have them in school, come and do. I've done talks, and you know what? All they want to know is, does it hurt? And when you say, no, it doesn't hurt, they're fine. They're off. They're like, oh, can I hold your prosthetic leg? How much does it weigh? Can I bend it? Can it do these are the engineers of tomorrow that are coming through. And we want them to have an interest in people with disabilities, because that's the only way technology is going to keep coming on. But I think doing more of that would help. It is actually exposing younger generations to people like me.
And look at the platform you have with cosplay and the thing you're going to. I mean, this gives you not only a platform for what you're doing, but to be able to then talk and speak to these younger people. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. This will make you laugh. One young boy came and asked me, he said, I wondered where this was going. He said, can I ask you a personal question? And I said, yeah. And he said, what did they do with your leg after they cut it off? I think he thought I took it home in a jar or something. Yeah, like tonsils. I don't know, mate, really. I don't know. But that's all they want to know. That, they want to dig into the real grit of it. It's quite funny.
Well, and I think about kids and how curious they are. And I know when my kids were little, if they would see someone in a wheelchair and they would speak up, I never stopped them, but I would make eye contact with the person because I wanted to make sure they were comfortable with my child being so
Yeah.
curious. The more that we can do that, and like you say, we all come with different lenses, and if we're coming with shame that I have to use a walking stick, we might react different than if we're coming with, hey, look at my walking stick, I'm hip, I'm looking good.
Completely. It kind of strips the label away, doesn't it? Because I'm very aware that, I mean, everybody gets labeled, no matter whether you know it's happening or not. But I'm labeled as, older lady in a wheelchair now. And you just want to strip that away and just become just like everybody else. Because up here is still super active, overactive. We just want to be seen in the same way as you want to be seen.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is you went from a lot of the work I do with my Interrupted and teaching podcasting is helping women, I mean, men too, but my focus is women, especially older women, to have a voice, to be able to speak to the things because we were so silenced, especially a certain age of us grew up with that. These millennials and that they know how to say their piece, but I feel like a lot of women our age, even though now we know it's okay, we still don't because we think we might get labeled. I was abused. I get labeled. I was in a domestic violence. I think the fact that you're doing this and that your whole thing is about stigma is so beautiful.
Yeah, and it's so important to us. We've created a lovely community, quite a large community on Instagram, and we have a Facebook community page as well, where all our neo walkers go along and they chat to each other, they give each other advice, they show each other their sticks. I've got this new one. What does it look out in the wild? What does it look like? It's a really warm and welcoming community. And we focus very much on that because being disabled, if you're not able to work, it can be very lonely. A real lonely. I mean, I'm not able to work all the time. I've actually been asleep all day today because I didn't sleep well during the night. That was my day. So I didn't actually make it into the office today. And that's just how it is when you've got dynamic illness. Some days you're okay. Some days you're not. Some days you use a stick. Some days you're in a chair. Some days you're just in bed. And it can be quite lonely. So we do try and foster that spirit of community very much. I love it. It can get quite feisty at times, but you've got all these people all over the world that they've made friendships, but they've never actually met each other. And I think that's so valuable.
I see a convention coming up.
Yes. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be amazing?
BYOWS, bring your own walking stick.
Yeah, BYOB, bring your own stick. Yeah.
So do you remember the point when you kind of shifted from I want to be invisible to, hey, it's great to be seen?
Yeah, I do. I remember wanting to be invisible. One particular day, I was in my wheelchair, not far from a shoe shop, and there was two guys. I think they were a bit tipsy. Oh, look at this. It's a buy one, get one free sale. And they looked at me and pointed and said, oh, she only needs one. She doesn't need the free one. And I thought, oh, my God, that's what people are thinking when they look at me. And I just wanted to disappear, just wanted the earth to swallow me up. But I was wrong thinking that was what everybody was thinking. Those guys were a bit tipsy. I make that joke about myself now. It was too early on for me to be hearing that. When I started feeling confident and wanting to be seen, it was when I started using my walking sticks and when people would come up to me and say positive things. Because until they say something, you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know whether they're pitying you. Did they like my glasses? Do they just think, oh, what a cool wheelchair? You have no idea. And it's you can't guess what people are thinking. And then when you find out, and all they want to do is say, your walking stick's really cool. My mum uses a stick, she's got MS, or my son needs a walking. And then it spills out and you get to learn what they're thinking. And that kind of pulled me back into community a bit. So I stopped wanting to feel invisible and I started wanting to be part of it again. It was a real shift. And I have to say, the walking sticks were responsible for it, because that was when people started coming over and talking to me differently. So, yeah.
Well, I look at you and you're just so beautiful. And I can see your smile when you talk about it, that it is your passion. But I did notice, and I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, you have amazing tattoos. Do you want to tell us?
Oh,
It's like hearts on top of hearts going down your arm.
yeah.
Is that right?
It's something, yeah, it is. It's something that I've kind of done since my amputation. I'll show you the first one that I got. This is my word, and it was my word before Ted Lasso did it. It says believe.
Oh,
I had that 13 years ago, and it was there so I could see it every morning when I woke up. So that was what spurred me on, and it was believing in possibilities, believing in what could come now that I'd made that choice, and believing in the people around you, believing in yourself, believing in, that higher power, whatever you want to believe in. I think that's what gets you through. But after that, I did I can't show you this one, but I've got another one on my back.
Pointing to her back, yeah.
Yeah. I got tied up in the Paralympics in 2012, for the London 2012. And it was for the ceremonies. It was for performing in the ceremonies. And I became a circus performer, a one-legged circus performer, a trapeze artist. And I performed in the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies. I did this crazy thing in the closing ceremony with Coldplay. And I've got a tattoo of it on my back. It's me on a trapeze hanging underneath a motorbike. And the motorbike went up a high wire to the top of the stadium. So I was like 50 meters above the ground, and it was incredible. So I've got a tattoo of that on my back. And then I've kind of just gathered more. I've got more. Circus is a real passion. It became circus was where I met my tribe, if you like, because there was 40 of us, 40 disabled people, all kinds of disabilities, right across the board. And we trained for 6 months together to perform in these ceremonies. And that was where I found all my possibilities just came together in one room. And it was really powerful. So I do have other circus tattoos as well. But yeah, it's a real passion, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. This has been so lovely and so unexpected. And I always love to ask this, but what is it you really want us to know?
That they have strength that they're totally unaware of. And I would want everyone to know that there's a right time for that strength to come out. It may not come exactly when you want it, but it will come. And that is what will carry you through to the possibilities, through the choices. That word believe, I really believe in believe. It's a powerful word. And like I said, it's not just yourself, it's believe in the people that you surround yourself with as well, because they're the ones that will help carry you through too. That's what I'd want people to know.
I love that. How do we find you?
Well, I'm nowhere near you, Laurie. I'm in York in the UK, so we're thousands of miles apart, but we're always on the internet. So our website is neo-walk.com. We have a phone number that I can't exactly remember at the moment, but you're welcome to call us as well. That phone number is on the website. You can email info@neo-walk.com, and we're a small team. You're only ever one person removed from me, so if you send a message, it might not be opened by me, but then it'll come to me. So there's only 10 of us. So yeah, please join us on Instagram. Our Instagram is @NeoWalkSticks. There's over 40,000 people there now. And we have a YouTube channel where we put videos, information, all sorts of, we want people to use the walking sticks, but we want them to learn as well. We want them to learn about how to use them properly, how to use them safely. That's very important to us. But also dip into this community that we've got, because you'll make friends that you didn't even know were out there.
Oh, I love that. Lyndsay, thank you so much.
It's been really lovely, Laurie. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.